What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be working on the Cobalt. Before we do that, I'm going to update you on what's been done since the last video. It's pretty much back together. Pop the hood. So the engine's back in. Everything's pretty well hooked up. The only thing that's not hooked up yet is the intercooler, which we're actually waiting on one to come in. And like the cold air intake, I'm going to make one. I actually have a bunch of leftover tubing from other projects like the S10. If you haven't watched those videos, definitely go back and watch them. I never ended up filming. I mean, basically it was the same as taking it out. So I figured we just wanted to get it done. What we're doing today is an upgrade. And I'll go over and show you what we got, and then we're going to install them. Alright guys, so what we're installing today is a set of coilovers, and this is what we got. We ordered them from BC Racing, not sponsored unfortunately, but if they want to send me the money back, they're more than welcome to. So this is what we got. Some nice stickers, and this is their BR series coilovers. So here we have the rear shocks. They're actually really nice. And then we have the springs with the adjustment on them. And then we have, which are pretty heavy, we have the front struts, as you can see, and they have a camber adjustment, or caster adjustment, I guess. And they have a adjustment knob on the top. And so does the rear shock. It has an adjustment on it. It also comes with shorter links, stabilizer links, right there. And spanner wrenches. New brackets that hold the ABS wiring, which is good because the ones on the car were pretty rusty. So yeah, we're gonna install those today. We decided to go with the BCs because everyone says they're really good. The cars still will ride good. They're a little more pricey than a lot of the coilovers out there, but you gotta pay for quality, right? So we're gonna jack the car up, pull the wheels, and get to work. First thing we're gonna do is we're gonna remove the shock and the spring, and then pretty much it's just reinstall the shock, the fancy one, and then reinstall the spring that has the adjustment. And so we're going to do that now. Alright, so we're going to start with taking this out. Well, I might have to crack that loose first. Whoa. So I got this propane torch. I'm just going to heat it a bit so that hopefully it comes loose. It could also be seized into the shock a little bit too. I could cut the shock off and then get that off, but I don't really want to have to do that. What I should have done is spray WD and stuff on these a couple days ago, which I didn't really think about. There it goes. So that's always a good thing to do, is when you're getting a stuck bolt out like that, go out a little bit and then go in a little bit, because you don't want to just keep going and then it might break off. But there we go. And as you can see, this shock is definitely no good. So we got the bolts out on the other side. So now what we're going to do is lower the suspension down to get the shocks out, or the springs out, I should say. And then once those are out, we're going to we'll look at the new springs and the new shocks, and then we'll start installing them. So if we just lower it, that should take the tension off the springs and allow them to come out, I think. There's one. These are so wedged in here. I expected them to just fall out. This angle. There we go. Ooh. Okay, that's one. I ended up pulling off the factory bump stops, which are right here. And then this is like an insulator pad that goes on the bottom. But I don't think it's supposed to use them because it actually comes with a little insulator pad that goes there. So I'm not going to put them in, but I will send a Coilover. I'll send BC an email and I'll ask them if I'm supposed to run them. But the weird thing is, if I was to put them on like this, the bump stop barely sticks out. And then, I mean, if I was to put them this way and put this on, well, I mean, I don't know. To me, that doesn't really look right. And then what do you do with this ring that it comes with? So we're just going to leave them out. There's adjustment in the spring, as you can see. We're going to set it to the lowest setting, of course. But we'll also see how that lowers it. It might be too much. So, and then you also have adjustment on the shock here. We'll show you as we install them exactly how that's done. We're under the car here. So as you can see, there's the spring installed. And so what you want to do is jack it up until it touches the body of the car, and then just give it a little bit of preload. So they say like 3 to 5 millimeters, but I'm not exactly sure how you would measure 3 to 5 millimeters. So I just gave it a couple, you know, one little pump so that it's got some preload on it. And then now we're gonna put the shock in, and the shock is where you do some adjustment. And like I said, we have it all the way as low as it can go, and then from there we'll, you know, we'll probably have to raise it up. But this might take a couple tries before we get it where we want it, but we have to see how low it is. On the lowest, it might be cool, so we don't know. I loosened this locking ring using this big spanner wrench. Now we're gonna go over to the car. We'll get this bolt in loosely. And then what they tell you to do is you loosen this off a bunch and then turn this in until you can line the bolt up. Okay, so that is as low as it goes. So does that mean I have it too low? The springs can't go that low? Like I can squeeze it up like this, but I don't know if that's not really what it says to do. But unless that's because it's on its lowest setting, but then that's gonna make it, you would think that would make it ride not as nice because this is all the way up. All right, guys, so the instructions don't really say, but kind of what we've figured out or thought is that we have the springs bottomed out on this adjustment all the way, which probably is lower than you're supposed to go. So since this was bottomed out all the way and it still doesn't reach, what I'm going to do is I'm going to lower the axle down until it lines up with the shock at the shock's lowest setting, basically, and then we'll adjust the springs kind of to match that, because I guess it has to go not that low. I guess it's not meant to work that way. And so far, if there's one thing I can say, is the instructions probably could be a little clearer on some stuff, but that's okay. We can figure it out. You'll see it come down till it kind of hopefully is closer to lining up, and then we'll have to readjust the springs and try again. Now the shocks fit perfect. We're gonna put the wheels on and put it on the ground, and then we'll see how low it is, and then that's gonna kind of tell us if this is how low we want it or not. Plus, like I said, I'm still gonna send an email to BC or and try to find out for sure if we should be running the bump stops. I'm pretty sure we shouldn't have to run them, but just to double check. I mean, the car's not ready for the road yet anyways. All right, guys, we're gonna lower it down and see what happens. So I would definitely say that's lower than it was. Of course, I never took any measurements beforehand, which I should have. But if you look at the front, if we go up to the front and you look at the height of the front, it is definitely down from what it was, as you can see. I don't know if that's as low as it goes or if we can actually go lower than that. I mean, we can go lower than that. I just don't know how that affects the ride, because like I said, if I lower the springs more, which will bring it down, but then that also compresses the shock some. So I'm not sure. But next we're going to do the front, and then we'll go from there. We want to kind of get the whole car like on coilovers, and then once it's on coilovers, then we can readjust them up or down if as need be. And I'll definitely take a measurement of the front so we can kind of see a before and after. Get a kind of rough measurement. So we got 27.5. Yeah, about 27.5. My tape measure is a little messed up from Randy, probably messing around with it, putting in his pants. 27.5. So now we'll see how much the front comes down. I did look at some pictures, and it's definitely come down a lot from what it was. So, and that's only on the first adjustment, so we can still screw around with it and see what we get. But let's do the front. Ready to pull the strut out. Now you can see the new axle right here that we got from Rock Auto. You can also see the new steering rack, which we picked up locally because the old one was bent. And the control arm that we got from the junkyard for the one that was bent, which is the FE3, FE5 aluminum one. And then you can see where the strut is bent right here from the accident. So pull the strut out and put in the new one. We got the top 3 bolts off. Now we're gonna take these off. Get out of town. Oh, what the crap? Why is this so tight? As you can see from the accident, this strut was torn completely apart, so definitely no good. Here's the front strut assembly, coilover. So what you want to do with this one, this you don't want to mess with. You want to leave this alone, and you want to turn this in and out, because this is set from the factory preload, how much your springs preloaded, so you don't really want to change that. So turning this in and out obviously makes it lower and higher. So we're going to go almost all the way low for the first try and then see how that does. And then we can adjust from there. And then, as I was saying before about these are for adjusting camber. If need be, they say you may or may not have to do that. So let's throw these in and see what happens. The front is really nice because you can reach the adjustment knob super easy. All right, so I got it jacked up into place, and I think this is gonna possibly be too low, but we're gonna try it anyways and see what it does. There's a bracket that holds the anti-lock brake wiring on, but we're just gonna leave that off for right now because we may have to pull this apart again. If you loosen this collar, you can turn this whole assembly. So you turn it one way to go up, one way to go down. But for right now, we're just gonna kind of throw it together like this so we can put it on the ground and see where we're at. All right, guys, so we got the front in. I figured that doing the front would be pretty easy, and that was what you call famous last words. After we got the passenger side, we thought, oh, we'll quickly do the driver's side. And I had a bitch of a time. One of the bolts wouldn't come out for the strut, and it's like a serrated bolt or whatever, locks in place. Yeah, look at all the corrosion. The spindle is aluminum, and the of course everything else is steel, like the bolts. So I couldn't get it out and had to screw around with it a bunch. But we got them in, and we have it set on the lowest setting. So there it is. And she's low. Way too low. And actually the back is too high, I would say. The back needs to come down a little bit, and the front needs to come up. Now, I'm not saying that the front needs to go up because it doesn't look cool. I think it looks awesome. But there's not really a lot of suspension, and so I think it would ride pretty crappy with it that low, I would think. So we are definitely going to raise it up in the front, you know, probably like an inch, and then hopefully lower the back maybe ½ inch to an inch, which we'll do tomorrow because I have to get another bolt. Right now we just shoved a different kind of bolt in there. But there you can see the plates, how that looks. That looks really cool, and the adjustment's really nice. It's right there. That's gonna be it for tonight. Tomorrow we'll continue fine adjusting everything and then putting it all back together for good. So we'll see you tomorrow. All right, guys, what's up? It's a couple days later. We're out here working on the car. So we ended up pulling the springs out in the rear, because we want to adjust it to lower it a little bit more. And also, after doing some looking around and reading, I found out that yes, you're supposed to run the bump stop still, and B, we had the springs upside down. So they're actually supposed to go this way, with this pointing down, and then pretty much this goes on here, and then this goes in here like this. So it makes sense. I just wasn't 100% sure. So what we're gonna do now is just readjust these down a little bit and throw everything back in. And now you can get a good look at how everything is supposed to be with the bump stop in. So I mean, the bump stop is here, and then that thing that it bumps against is way down inside this part. And then you can see how the adjustment is right there. So I mean, there's still a lot of adjustment to go down, but then I think you're gonna lose shock travel if you go down too much. I believe that BC makes some kind of extender, maybe that's for the shock, so that you can go down more or something. I don't know. Anyways, okay, so that's it, they're in. We will put the wheels on and put it on the ground, and then we'll do the front. This and this are locked together with these two spanners, like so. It's locked. That's setting your preload of the spring, which they say not to touch, but of course you can if you want to, but we're not gonna. So, and now in order to go up, to go lower, I should say, you turn, no, to go up you go this one, and then to go down you turn this one. And that keeps you from backing this off, and you can just turn it like this. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna turn it. We've kind of figured that we need about an inch higher, so we're gonna turn it. I think we're gonna turn it so that there's an inch here, give or take. Then we'll tighten this down, do the other side, and carry on. And if that's good for height, we'll put the stabilizer link on and the thing for the ABS wiring that it comes with, and we'll be done. Of course, with this, you always have to play around, readjust, which means a lot of screwing around, but I think we'll leave it there. We'll measure the distance between here and here, and then we'll go to the other side, and we'll do the exact same, put it on the ground, and see how it is. This is how it sits now. So it's come up from 24.5 to 25. The rear right now is 26.25. The front started at 27.5 stock. So we're at 24.5. No. We're at 20.
We're 25.
We're at 25. We want to be probably like 25.5. maybe a little bit more, you know, because we'll give it a little bit of, have the front a little lower than the back. Like I said, I think we could probably still bring the rear down. Mind you, the rear, they probably will settle more maybe than the front, because the front has all the weight of the engine on it already, whereas the rear doesn't. So we can always readjust them later. So what we're gonna do is jack it up again, redo everything we just did, and then put it on the ground and see what that does. Took it apart again and redid it again. Now we're at 25 and a quarter, and the back is 26 and a quarter. So that's a 1 inch difference between front and back, but I think it looks pretty good actually like that. So we're gonna leave it like that, at least for now. I think this rear will probably settle some more than the front, because the front has lots of weight on it already, maybe, I don't know. But anyways, the thing is, we can always go back and readjust once we have the car on the street and, you know, we take a good look at it. But I think the profile looks pretty good, having a little bit of rake to the back without it being too crazy, and definitely the front isn't too low now. It's come up a decent amount. So now we'll jack it up. We'll put on the end links and those brackets for the ABS, tighten everything up, and it'll be done. Here's the other parts we still have to put on. Shortened stabilizer link bars right here. Oh. Come on, Yellow Wolf, we don't need the copyright. And then these brackets, which replace these brackets, so I don't really know the reason why they give you new ones, other than the fact that the old ones are gross and these ones are brand new, so that's awesome. Pretty simple. This bracket just goes on here, and then you hook your wires in there, and then the stabilizer, it goes on there. There you go. That's pretty much it. It's pretty much all assembled, ready to go. Looks pretty good. So we'll do the other side and then put the car back down on the ground, and we'll close this video out. So that's it. That's putting a set of BC coilovers on a Cobalt. Hopefully this video helps some people. I know I looked around on YouTube and didn't really see any install videos for the BC coilovers. And a lot of the videos that I did watch didn't really go into a lot of depth on how to do them and exactly how everything works. So hopefully that gives you a good idea. I gotta say, the instructions for the coilovers could have been a little more clear. Like I said, it didn't really say about reusing the bump stops, things like that, and which way exactly the springs in the back go. But other than that, it was pretty good. I think it looks pretty good. Take a good look here. Overall, pretty happy. I guess we'll see when we start driving it exactly how it drives and feels. And of course, we'll do another video then, kind of a review video on how it rides with those coilovers. So like always, like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends. Check out all the other videos. We have lots of them on the channel for you guys to watch, and we'll check you later.